Day shift. Where do I begin with this? Boy. So Jamie Foxx starts off as his pool cleaner, but then he goes to Mrs. Jones' house to looking for something. He's all banging off a shot on her out of nowhere. You're like, what the fuck? But then all of a sudden she turns into a vampire. So basically he ends up getting her duffed. Another vampire comes in and gets duffed. But the thing is, he doesn't completely destroy them. Now why is that? Because he takes out their fangs that he can sell them for money and whatnot. And when you take out their fangs, they're about as useless as a can opener with no cans. So there you go. So after all this, he goes to the school to pick up his daughter. Then takes her back home to his ex-wife, who happens to be Megan Good. Talking about her daughter needs school for money and braces, which is going to add up to about $10,000. And if they don't get it, she's going to end up moving with her mom to Florida. Keep in mind, they're in California. So Jamie's got to find the money to keep his daughter here and all that so they can stay. The problem is, with certain vampires, the teeth ain't worth spit. Now, they do have a lot of jobs at this spot called the Union, but apparently he worked there before. And basically, he racked up some violations, so yeah. But then he runs into one of his friends named Big John. Yeah, he's played by Snoop Dogg. There you go. And he's going to help him get back into the Union. Now, while this is going on, this chick named Audrey, she's like the queen vampire or something like that. She's got these realties and whatnot set up. See, the thing is, she wants to lock down all these realty projects so she'd be able to bring more vampires into the area. And they can do what they do and take over. But really, she's trying to find this temple where it can enact this uber blood. And then they could be able to go out during the day. And these vampires got speed, agility, and all that. They come out in the day. That's a fucking problem. So Jamie gets to the agency, and reluctantly they put him back on the ship, even though they let him know about his violations and codes and all this shit. He wanted the night shift because that's where they get more money, and the boss is like, fuck no, you're going on day shift. Ergo, the movie. And then they put this guy on him by the name of Seth. He's actually like one of their consultants and stuff like that. But he's actually about to go out in the field with Jamie. The thing is, the boss really just wants him to tag along to see if he fucks up, because the moment he does, he can cut him off the shit. So then he goes on one of his missions at a bowling alley. He's got the guns, he's got the silver bullets. He got the silver wire that vampires can't see, and they cut niggas' heads off. Wooden stakes and all that shit. So basically it was an abandoned bowling alley. And some of these areas, you guessed it, has more vampires in it than others. So then we see Audrey. She goes to this familiar area. Audrey ends up going to Mrs. Jones' house, seeing her dead as shit. Now this is a problem because Mrs. Jones was Audrey's daughter. So now eventually she's going to find her man Bud and try to whip his ass. I just remembered his name in the movie. Jamie is Bud, so there you go. After Jamie and Seth get out of a situation, he ends up going back over to Megan's house for a little bit. I thought she was trying to move to Florida because of the situation, but then I realized, yo, she didn't even know what's going on in this world of vampires. I'm like, what the fuck? Now, when you watch the movie, it's like certain cars going by. But pretty much everybody knows what kind of apocalyptic world they're in. So I'm like, how the fuck does Megan Good not know this shit? He's either kept it a hell of a good secret from her, or she's just that oblivious to not realize what's going on in the rest of the fucking town. Shit's baffling. Well, anyway, afterwards, he goes back to his apartment, because apparently they've been separated for a little minute. He meets his new next door neighbor. She's nice to him and all this other stuff. Then the next day he picks up Bud. And Seth and Bud's relationship is pretty much what holds it down for the entire movie. Somewhat. I guess you could say it's a lot of action in it. Alright, so let me get to the bottom line of all this shit. Audrey ends up finding out it was Bud that killed her daughter. Bud gets his daughter, car chase scene. He gets back to Megan's house as an ambush. Audrey's sitting right there waiting on him. Then they take the wife and kid and leave Bud out there duffed. While this is happening, Seth is laid out on the ground. You're like, oh man. So everybody's gone. Once Bud wakes up, all of a sudden Seth wakes up too. Talking about he feeling funny. Oh damn it, they turned Seth into a vampire. But I guess he had the uber blood because he only snapped at him once, even though he did try to cut his head off. He was somehow able to put his head back on and get it together. I was like, yeah, he's got that uber blood or something. But he's able to work with Bud even after being turned. So Bud's thinking to himself, how the fuck did Audrey know about him in the first place? Turns out the next door neighbor that was so nice snitched on him, and she's a vampire. But she said she had no choice. Then she let him know the situation of why she was chasing after him the whole time anyway, so it's like, okay. But now he's got to get his wife and daughter back, or ex-wife or whatever. So now all three of them working together to cause mayhem. And then when they're in a little bit of trouble, Big John comes out nowhere with a Gatling gun, starts lacing niggas. It's funny to see Snoop just walking in like he's Clint Eastwood or some shit. But anyways, down to beef. Now Audrey's plan at this point is to turn Bud's daughter into a vampire and have her snack on her mom. So they end up splitting up. Seth and the other girl neighbor go to fight some other vampires. Bud and Big John go down another way so they could get his daughter and wife girl back. Big John was lacing niggas, but eventually he got bit. We were like, oh no. He tells Bud to keep going. He's got to fight off these niggas. And he goes out in a blaze of glory with a big ass bomb on his chest. Bud one-on-one with Audrey, my bad. Hell of a battle, but eventually he finished off and duffed her ass, took her teeth, and saved the family. Big Boss comes in and talking about some code violation shit, and Seth is like, nah, he ain't violate that code. You got loopholes. So that saved him for now. So with that and all the fangs he collected, he had enough money to keep his family in California. But then I'm thinking to myself, why the fuck would you even want to stay if you got to deal with all this shit? But then I thought to myself, is California the only place like this? Is there stuff going on around the rest of the world? Is some Resident Evil shit? So as the credits roll, all of a sudden we see Snoop coming up out the tunnel like, what the fuck is this? This nigga smokes a blunt talk about I love being a vampire and just walks off into the darkness. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, didn't you blow yourself up? But then I thought to myself, this movie wasn't supposed to take itself seriously, so there you go. And that's day shit for you. Now in the movie, they tried to explain certain different types of vampires or zombies or whatever they wanted to call them at first. They had like Eastern, Southern, whatever. It was like 5 different types. They were like juvies, juveniles. Like, it was weird. When you're watching the action, nobody's gonna be able to see through that shit. I forgot about this one scene when the Nazarian brothers, they were cool, and one of the brothers happens to be the guy from Shameless. You know, the one that plays V's husband. But anyway, so basically that's day shit for you. A fun little comedy horror that takes place in California with Jamie Foxx and Snoop Dogg. Do I need to say anything else? So basically, check that shit out.